Okay, today we're going to do some solving proportions and maybe setting up a proportion of a word problem and solve it. First things first. If it's just a straight proportion, you're going to have 3 over 7 equals blank over 8, blank over 14. I just put a letter X there. So we're trying to find what X is. Now, some of you are looking at this and say, I know the answer already, which is good. You can do it two different ways. Some of them you're going to have decimals and you ain't be able to do it just by looking at it. Some of you will be able to easily tell. One way you can solve this, you say, oh, I could look at this and say 7 times what gives me 14. Oh, 7 times 2 gives me 14, which means the top would have to be also by 2, which would give me the answer of 6. Okay, that's one way to do it. Let's try to erase this. Another way you could cross multiply, then divide. You could cross multiply the 2 that you could, because the other 2, this right here, there's no number here. So cross multiply the 2 that you can, and then divide by the other number. So we cross multiply 3 times 14, which gives me 42, and then divide by the number that's by itself, 7, which is going to give me 6. And you say, well, Coach Caps, I could have done that with all that. Okay. On that problem you could have, but what if it looks like something like this? Okay, if it looks something like this, now all of a sudden, I'm not looking at it and telling exactly what the answer. I know about what the answer might be, but don't know exactly. It's going to be a decimal. So this is the way you need to do it. You need to cross multiply and then divide. Which one do we cross multiply? The 2 that is opposite, diagonally opposite of each other. The 4 doesn't have anything opposite of it. So we have to do 7 times 17 first. And 7 times 17 gives us 119. We divide by the number that we haven't messed with yet, which is 4. So you got 119 divided by 4 is 29.75. So this right here, X or whatever they want to use the letter as, or the variable as, it's 29.75. Okay, let's look at a word problem. Okay, if a plane travels 200 miles in 15 minutes, at this rate, how far will the plane go in 2 hours? Okay, you could set a proportion on this one. You could say miles. I want to change that. Miles over minutes. So put miles over minutes. So to set a proportion of it, put miles over minutes. I'm going to write it down here. I'm going to abbreviate. Miles, minutes. Okay, you set a proportion of it just like this. Just like we did a while ago, but we had the numbers filled in for us. Now we got to fill it in ourselves. Okay, we got 200 miles in 15 minutes. So let's put 200 miles, because the miles are on top and the minutes are on bottom. And someone asked me, well, can I put minutes on top and miles on bottom? You sure can. That's why I label it, because you can do it either way, as long as you keep the miles either on top or bottom, or the minutes either on top or bottom. So we're putting the miles on top. Now it says how far the plane go in 2 hours, but here's the difference. Hours. We got it labeled as minutes. So how many minutes are 2 hours? Okay, so 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 2 hours would be 100, twice that, 120 minutes. So we have a plane going at 200 miles in 15 minutes. How far will it go? Question mark. We don't know how far it go. In 120 minutes. Now you set your proportion up. Now let's cross multiply. Which two numbers can we cross multiply? 200 and 120. So 200 times 120 is 24,000. Divided by the number that we had messed with, which in this case is 15. So 24,000 divided by 15 is 1,600 or 1,600. So the plane travels 200 miles in 15 minutes. If it keeps that same pace up, that same rate, in 2 hours, it's going to go 1,600 miles.